What's your earliest memory of playing football?
Third grade is when I really started football. Like I was a wrestler growing up, but third grade I played my first, league football with tackle. I think it was third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all together. So as you think back about that, that's quite a range of third through sixth grade. But that was big. But it wasn't until a guy became my football coach that I really I think found a love for football. A guy named John Hicks, who was a Outland Trophy winner and second in the Heisman Trophy, became my Little League football coach, and that's where kind of an explosion of things that I was, presented and got to see and got some experiences with.
What did you love about wrestling, and how have you taken from wrestling to not only in your playing? I mean, I know where it carries you, but even as a coach.
I just think it's the competitive spirit. I think that the unique thing about an individual sport is you got to be on your best at all times. Like, and if it's not, it's pretty obvious, right? And so I think that taught me something at a really young age. That any given day, if you're not into it, if you're not passionate about it, like you can be embarrassing. And so those principles, the buzzwords, the dedication, all those things. But I just think it's getting used to that uncomfortable situations. Like, I don't know that I ever felt that baseball, like, right, maybe you're the guy up to bat, or, you're a pitcher, but those uncomfortable situations of being on your own and the ability for you to grow and fight through those butterflies and those anxieties at a young age.
When did you know coaching was a perfect fit for you?
Probably later than most all the coaches. Never once did I ever say that I was going to be a coach until I was laying in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and just blown my knee out at camp. And I just remember laying there and thinking, like, is this over? Is this your competitive life over in some way? I mean, and that's when it started to hit me. Just like, what are you going to really do? Are you really going to go back to med school? Do you really want to do that? Is this really, what is it you want to do? And that was the first time I said, you know what, I don't want to be done with this game. I want to be a part of this game. Most of the games are taken away earlier than any of us want. You get to play it a lot longer. But that was the very first time that I had a realization that coaching was the way for me.
Who was your favorite athlete growing up, and why?
Dan Gable. And obviously because it's, Olympic champion and probably the most dominant wrestler. And like I said, I grew up as a wrestler until I, John Hicks became my football coach. Then I started to have a little bit more of an idea of, bigger time football, and just, became a Steeler fan. And I don't know why, because I was in Columbus, Ohio. But really it was Dan Gable, and just, not that you could ever watch those things, but, studying from afar and all the things, it was where my idol was.
What was your most memorable moment on the football field at any level? Any one particular standout?
There's a lot. I mean, obviously individual things. I think the last game my senior year of college, to win the Rose Bowl in basically your last game in college, and to be with the guys, to do it the way we did it, and to be with those guys. I remember never wanting to kind of finish up and take the uniform off, because from then on you didn't know. Nothing was guaranteed to you. And so that always sticks in my mind. And then I probably would, go back and to say the win at the Rose Bowl again. So my second year at Cincinnati, when we beat UCLA in the opening game, it was a real turn for us in that whole entire program. And I'll never forget it, just how that hall went about and how what that feeling was afterwards.
Talk a little bit about your friendship with Mike Vrabel, and when you guys talk and communicate, what's that like?
Not nearly as much as you'd like to at times, just the sheer fact of how busy, but unique, because he kind of got into it in that situation of coaching. He always wanted to be a coach. So where we grew up, best friends through college and all that, he always was going to be a coach. I never was going to be a coach. But the uniqueness of that relationship even grew the year he came back and started and was with us. And 2011, and which was obviously a trying year and unique and made me who I am in a lot of ways today as a coach in particular. I don't know if I'd have made it through that 8-9 months without having somebody like that. I know a lot of the coaches were great, but like to have that guy that literally every night would be there, pick you up when you needed picked up, and so there was a different kind of growth in a lot of the things that we had done, and now it's become a little bit more of, truly kind of bouncing ideas and things and ways to go about it, and evolving our game and the things that we do in a lot of ways, but also dealing with people. Like, he deals with older pros, but yet it's still finding ways to get guys to play above their abilities. And we got a lot of the same philosophies, so it works well for us to kind of share ideas.
The no elevator policy that you have, that seems to be a hot topic. It is. Where'd you come up with it? Does it apply to coaches also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get after there. I want to let them get off. It became a little bit different as we got Wisconsin, because there's some uniqueness of guys. Is it the basement a floor? Is it not a floor? Like so it really was always like, you can't take the elevator more than if it's not at least 3 flights. Like, right? I mean, like, so people would say it's more of an elevator. Oh, you can't ride it. No. Like, I take the elevator to the 8th floor. I understand. But it's that idea that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And if you allow yourself to take the easy route in some things, it's going to lead to bigger things. So crazy little things like that. But I think it hopefully sets a point in the guys to understand, like, what's important to you. Like, there are no such things as shortcuts. There are no such thing as easy routes. It's, no, don't take that. And it's a joke, but it's not a joke.
Yeah. At different times, you had cameras on individuals in practice. They didn't know about it, and you wanted to see who was really busting their tail, right? Did that make for some uncomfortable meetings or film sessions with guys?
Yeah, it does. But it's the realization, it's the honesty, it's that whole idea of the man in the mirror, right? And we can all be misconstrued, like, what you really see, but then when your peers see it, it means something a little bit different. And so I think it's an accountability thing, and it goes as far as to how you come on the field, how you go off the field, maybe even, what are you doing on the sideline. We haven't done it as far as that, but it's more about an effort thing, but that goes all to the attitude of everything that you do. And there's a balance there for me. I don't want to show negative things because we want to emphasize the positives, but we make a point that, hey, the offensive tackle was on camera today, and I don't have any clips to show you guys. Well, if I don't have any clips to show you, that means there weren't any good clips. Or, hey, we've got 2 clips here. Well, you only have 2 clips that they think is good enough to show the whole team. So I think that you get your point across without overemphasizing the negative, and let's focus on the things that can be positive for us.
If you were to put your credo, the Luke Fickell credo, on a T-shirt, what would it be?
Way you do anything is the way you do everything. And I want our guys to understand that. I want me to understand that. I want our coaches to understand that. I mean, it's the ownership of everything that we do, right? I mean, I want to, if we're going to be there and we're going to work, then let's go full, like, everything that we do. There's no, halfway, half-ass stuff that we want to do. Like, these opportunities for these kids are not as long, right? I mean, 3, 4, 5 years, that's all that's guaranteed to them. And we got to make sure that they understand. We got to make the most out of everything that we do. And it's amazing what you can get used to, right? The habits that you can create. It doesn't just happen.
You job outside the state of Ohio, right? What's your favorite thing about Wisconsin so far?
People, but I would say that the different, just the lakes, the different type of things living-wise in the summer. Like, I've never grown up around lakes. I've never really spent any time on lakes. And so for me at the house, like, I used to always be like, once we put a pool in, like, a pool and a fire was like the most calming thing to me. And now it's a little bit like, okay, maybe being out there on a lake is something that's another little area where I don't have a whole lot of hobbies, but the ability to be able to relax and to get away, it's hard for me. But that's been one of the best things about being in Madison.
Cheese curds are what?
Everywhere. And everybody has the best ones. So it's hard not to say, okay, you go to a place and like, so tell me, hey, what do you recommend? Oh, the cheese curds here are the best. And you're like, well, I've heard that from 7 other places too. So I got to try them, right? So I'm lucky that I got a bigger family that you can just get one order and everybody gets like 1 or 2. But if we continue to order them, I'm not sure my boys are going to be able to make the weight limit even at 8-year-old football. But it's different.
Yeah. Obviously, you haven't started a season there yet. You haven't had a regular season game, but you played there as an Ohio State player and you coached there. How do Wisconsin fans and that fan base compare to Ohio State or others in the Big Ten?
Yeah, you got a skewed vision, right? I mean, from the other side. And I just remember it being very passionate. I remember it being crazy, not just the third quarter, not just jump around, but just the sheer passion of the fans. And I get reminded of that by my brother-in-law and them that probably went, they said they would never go back when they went to a night game where Wisconsin won, and they couldn't get away. It was like crazy, and they got stranded downtown. Nobody could give it. Like they were like, I don't think I'm ever going. That place is crazy. Now they'll be coming back on the other side, right. So it'll be a little bit of a different perspective. But I hope it still is crazy and is fun.
You're a defensive guy, but you know about quarterbacks. What are the most important traits that you look for in a quarterback?
Leadership and winning ability. I don't think that you can watch that and then all the evaluations of how they throw and how they run and things like that. And I just think that it can be over-evaluated. Well, he's got a little bit of a different delivery, and he's got this long, and he's got this. And I say, well, does he win, right? Does he find a way to win? Because the greatest multiplier you got on your team is your quarterback. And if he does things in a unique way and he leads in a way and he makes people play above their God-given abilities like coaches can do, then he multiplies all the things that you have. And to me, it comes down to their ability to lead and their ability to win.
So your new quarterback, Tanner Mordecai, what 3 words would you use to describe him?
Leader, competitor, and maturity. Like, he's got a uniqueness because he's been through a lot of things, and we would always joke, I know you're a quarterback, but they don't get hit, right? I mean, they get, nobody touches them all year and da-da-da-da-da. And then you got a guy that's been knocked around, beat around, not just hit, but playing, not playing, have to battle through, 2 or 3 college or NFL quarterback guys. And okay, so we make a change. Now I got to go here. I got to win over another locker room. I got to win. I got to take some of the things that he's had to go through. Obviously make him who he is, but I think give him a maturity beyond his years.
So I'm going to add one question here, and it's a football. I know what my answer to this is because people have asked me, but you hired Phil Longo as your offensive coordinator. How would you answer people that would say, how's that going to work or fit at Wisconsin?
I would say it's about people. And whether it's a player or a coach, intelligent people find a way to be successful. And we all have our beliefs and we all have our ways, but if we're going to be great at anything, then we're going to have to be able to adjust and adapt. And whatever Phil did at Sam Houston State worked. Whatever he did at Ole Miss worked. Whatever he did at North Carolina worked. And what he's going to have to do at Wisconsin to work is going to have to be a little bit different as well. And when you believe in people, you believe in they're going to evolve, whether that means throwing it more, run it more, spread it out more, whatever it is. Intelligent people find a way to be successful as long as they believe that it's all about winning.
Best uniform in the Big Ten. I know the one that you will not answer, but.
Yes. I don't know. You know what? I mean, I'm a traditionalist. So to be honest with you, I love, and I know this is going to, Wisconsin has never really changed. Iowa's never really changed, and Penn State has never really changed. And I'm not saying Ohio State, but those traditionals that they don't really get away from, I still think is what I love about college football.
Outside of your own, what's the wildest student section in the Big Ten?
Boy, it's hard. I haven't played at some of the places in a long time, but it's hard not to say, Penn State on a whiteout. I think that the number, I don't know how many they have in there, but the number of students, and I think the uniqueness of them being there about 2 hours, and when you're out there warming up for a night game is very unique.
All right, so one of the things that's cool about the Big Ten, a lot of the rivalries, the trophy games. What's the weirdest one, do you think, of all those rivalry trophies?
Probably the Illabuck. I mean, an old turtle. I know there's the history behind it and the fraternities, and I don't know. It's never quite made a whole lot of sense to me.